Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course, and it's another episode of the ARCA Zoom cast with Charlie Crawl, the ARCA PR director. How's it going?
It's going real good. Just counting down to another fun ARCA Menard Series platform race weekend, and this time it's season opener for the ARCA Menards East, and another return trip down there to Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, and we're really looking forward to it. Should be a fun season for the East Series this year, and I got a pretty solid entry list that we're working on here. I think we'll have 16, 17 cars, which from where we were a couple of years ago is pretty big improvement there. So we're looking forward to it, and just hoping the weather holds off, and it looks like it will, and we should have a real good weekend.
Yeah, you talk about just a lot of these teams that are going to be down there. Of course, you got a lot of these competitors like you got William Sawalich, you have Sean Hingrani, Tyler Reif, Luke Fenhouse, LeVar Scott. A lot of these guys are going to be guys and gals that are going to be competing in this series. Just how exciting is it to see all these cars that are going to be in there?
Yeah, so you just named off 5 really good, solid race cars right there, Casey, and any one of those 5 drivers could end up in victory lane on Saturday night. And it's really exciting to have this level of just talent, that's involved in this series. Like, as I said, where we were a few years ago, particularly with the East Series, it was a little thin. We're still not where we want to be. We're still working on it, and there are some really good signs that we'll be a little healthier in the near future here. But we were a little thin a couple years ago, and to have 5 or 6 really good quality race cars that could come out and win any one of these races, where we were 2 years ago, I think. I'm trying to remember which year it was. Might have been 2020. I think it was 2021. It was Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs, won every one of those races, and then last year, I think it was the Sammy Smith and Taylor Gray show. So, it'll be great to have, a handful of good cars. They're fighting for wins, and anytime we get to go to Five Flags, it's a fun trip. Tim Bryant does a really nice job down there with his facility, and Bob Sargent and Track Enterprises on the promotion side. They're great partners to work with, and everyone's just really excited. I think there's a little bit of renewed energy around the East Series here in 2023, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. Should be a great time, and don't forget, you can watch that one live on Flow this Saturday night.
Of course, she'll be on the call for that one. So,
Yep.
So just, obviously Tyler Reif has been in the conversation. Of course, he won that race at Phoenix. Just kind of talking about that, and how exciting is it to have him race both? I think we've got 2 drivers that are going to be in every East and every West race.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And I think if you would have asked anybody, who the first time winner candidates were out there in Phoenix, I don't know that Tyler would have been in that discussion. He had run a handful of races out there in the West, towards the end of last year, and had some good runs. Certainly was competitive and fast, but I don't know that he had put himself kind of that high on anyone's radar screen just yet. But he was really fast in practice, qualified very well. Unfortunately, was caught up in that incident there really early on, and lost a couple of laps, and made him up, and then just kind of knifed his way through the field there. Like, he was really, really fast, and put himself there in the top 2 or 3 with 50 laps to go. And I think he was going to put himself in a position to challenge for the win regardless of those late race caution flags. And he did everything right on that, the last couple of laps there. Even though he didn't quite get the best restart, from there on out, he did everything right. He chased down the 2 cars in front of him, Landon Lewis and who was the other one that he was battling with there? I wanted to say William Sawalich, but I know William got spun out.
Bradley Erickson.
Bradley Erickson is the one I'm thinking of. He caught Bradley, on that first lap, and then caught Landon Lewis there on the second lap. And, he would have had to have dealt with William Swalich if William hadn't gotten spun out there on that previous restart. But he did everything right. And, one of the great upsets I think that we have seen in the ARCA Menard series here in the last couple of years. And I always love seeing a first time winner, Casey, and they were, they worked so hard and always so happy. And it was just a good time to be out there. But it's great to have him running not just the full West series, but the full East series here. And Chris Loudon, his owner, is a great guy, and a very interesting guy, to say the least. And it's good to see a new owner in Victory Lane too.
Yeah. Of course, coming into, this East season, we kind of talk about, having Luke Fenhouse in the series. And we touched on this last week a little bit, but this kind of new Pinnacle team, kind of maybe for many people that may not know, kind of tell us a little bit about that.
So, they haven't been with us just yet, so I don't know a whole heck of a lot about them. But they've got Lauren Rainier, who is, everybody knows, has been around the sport for a long time. Lauren, his dad Harry Rainier raced against my uncle's race team back in the 70s and 80s, and our family race teams had a lot of success at the same times. Harry Rainier's team won the Daytona 500 in 1983 when my uncle's race team won the Cup Series championship. So we've always kind of had that little family tie right there. But Lauren has been around a long time, and he has worked with a lot of great young up and coming drivers over the years. And Luke Fenhouse is a young man that comes from the upper Midwest, runs a lot of super late model races up there, and is hooked up with Lauren, and Shane Huffman is sliding over to crew chief and oversee that program. And Shane's one of the best crew chiefs at this level, and I think they're going to have a lot of success right out of the box, truthfully.
Yeah. And besides that, I know he's been talking about the success of his driver we possibly could be seeing in this series. Of course, his son Landon. I know he's
yeah, one of the two Landon Huffmans that I think we will see in the ARCA Menard series at some point, right?
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. There's two of them. Yeah, and of course, LeVar Scott's going to be running in the full time in East, and what a performance he had at Daytona.
Yeah, LeVar is just a wonderful young man. Always smiling, always willing to talk to the media, the fans. He absorbs information like a sponge. He really does. And I've known him for the past couple of years. He's just been hanging out at the racetrack, just trying to get that opportunity, and he finally got it here in 2023, and I'm so happy for him. He had such a great race down there in Daytona, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in a full championship run. And I think he's going to have a good shot at it. Obviously, Rev, put a driver in contention to win actually they had two drivers in contention to win the ARCA Menard Series championship last year. So, I wish he had a few more races to run. 8 races isn't the biggest schedule to get to come out and race, but I think he'll do okay. I think he'll be a contender to win a race or two, and I think he'll be a real strong contender for that championship.
How exciting are you to see William Swalich out there?
Well, William's a guy that I've seen the last couple of years down at the World Series at New Smyrna, and he's always been competitive, and he was competitive down there again this year. And teaming up with Mark McFarland and the folks over there at Joe Gibbs Racing, he's going to be somebody that's going to be tough to beat every week. He really will be. It's a great race car, great race team. Mark McFarland is as good as it gets on top of the pit box. So Williams, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. That car has had a lot of success the last 4 years. So, if he doesn't see that same type of success right out of the box, I think he's going to start feeling some heat.
Yeah. And there's one team that's actually going to be racing in every single ARCA Menard Series race in 2023, and that's going to be the team that's mostly associated with this series. Of course, it's Venturini Motorsports. How cool is it to have one of the most well-known teams of this series in all 3 championships?
Yeah, and I think Billy told me, they've got the 35 races, I think they've sold, well north of 75, seats. So, they're going to be very busy this year. They've put together a terrific program, with a lot of really great talented drivers. They haven't even announced all of them yet, to be honest. We're still wondering who's going to be, you know, racing at some of these races throughout the course of the summertime. But yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them. Sean Hingarani is a very talented young man. We saw him run a couple of times there last year out on the West Coast, and had some good runs. Didn't have the best of luck, but had some real good runs going out there. And it's going to be interesting to see what he can do in a with a team that's got the resources of Evinrude Motorsports, and he's going to get, pretty close to, 16, 18 shots at it too. So, yeah, well, it'll be fun to watch his progress throughout the course of the year. I know he didn't have quite the night that he was looking for out in Phoenix, but, we'll see how he does.
All right. Well, of course, you can tune in this Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Flow Racing. Charlie, of course, will be on the call for this one as the season opener for the ARCA Menard Series East. Thanks, Charlie, for coming on, and we'll talk to you next week as the first standalone West race of the year. Of course,
yeah,
Irwindale.
That'll be fun. Looking forward to Irwindale next week too.